what we thought would be a very difficult Edmonton defense up front.
But with that type of time and not worrying about getting tackled and landing on that shoulder, that's always the big concern, because that's truly where the test is going to come. When you have a 300-pounder like Armando Sewell tackling you and laying on you when you hit that ground.
And now, like I said, last year it was exact same record for us. 6-5, they're 6-5.
Wow.
Now, we lost last year the first game, but we came back on the rematch and found a way to win. And I think today that's what's going to happen. I think that defense is pissed off. I think they're going to come up and show up. And I think Mr. Harris is going to hear his comments and come up and perform. So I believe this is going to be a physical game, because that's what Jason wants, and that's what this matchup is. And you saw the first one on the rematch. I kind of see it coming in this one.
Something else Jason wants is his team not to go out there and create a bunch of penalties. You know, that's been a problem for him, not only this year, but last year also. You know, it's hurt him a lot of times where they've been able to get off the field, but for those penalties, they had to stay on the field. So they have to discontinue those. Something else I'm looking at, we have two good returners, Christian Jones and, of course, Terry Williams. One of those guys is going to have a big return that may have an impact on this game. So I'm excited about those
Last week on that return that they got, that was the first time in 4 years that a returner got in the end zone for Edmonton. First time. But there was a penalty
It was called back.
But it was the first time in 4 years that they got that big play.
Yeah.
So that's been a problem.
Just another big game in the Battle of Alberta, and it's coming up now, part 3 of our triple header. Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter will have the call from Commonwealth Stadium next on TSN.
Trevor Harris for the win to Kevin Elliott, jumping and incomplete. Game over, and the Stampeders have won the latest Battle of Alberta. 1st and 10, and looks for Bingleton. Touchdown! A beauty grab over Money Hunter. Trevor Harris, goal line knocked down. Stampeders going to win. It's about history and hostilities. The Battle of Alberta renewed.
Alberta, it's your chance to win big thanks to Save on Food's $1 million touchdown to win. If a kickoff's returned for a TD, you could win a $10,000 home theater package. If it happens again, you could win $1 million. The mics are live, including those of Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter.
Thank you, Rod. Perfect September Saturday night in the Alberta capital. The Stamps trying to repeat. The Eskimos look to reboot as the provincial rivals meet in the Labor Day rematch at Commonwealth.
Bo Levi Mitchell came off the injured list last week, got his 11th win, 15 games against the rival Edmonton Eskimos down Highway 2. He's 11-4 career against Edmonton. Trevor Harris is still trying to find the answer and exercise the demons that are the Calgary Stampeders. 0-8-2 in his career against Calgary. He's trying to find the answer.
Jason Moss called Labor Day a two-phase whooping on offense and defense, looking for the Eskimos to raise their physicality in the rematch. And Dave Dickinson Stamps look for their 6th sweep in 8 years of these back-to-back sets. Calgary's won 12 of their last 15 visits to the brick field. Well, could we get a repeat of last year? What a Labor Day rematch it was. 48-42 Edmonton. 1,052 yards of offense in that one. How does this one go? Christian Jones up over the 30. Calgary won the toss and deferred, so Trevor Harris will lead the Eskimos out on offense first, still looking for his elusive first ever victory against the Stampeders.
Threw for just over 200 and 1 interception. No touchdown passes for Trevor Harris in the Labor Day game on Monday. He's still on pace for a 6,000-yard passing season. No Edmonton Eskimo quarterback has ever done that.
Starting at the 36 and starting with C.J. Gable off the left side. Heavy contact there, a hard run by Gable up to the 45, and he has 9.
That just gets things started. The veteran, guy that knows a lot about this this rivalry. He gets things started coming up, and good contact by two outstanding football players. C.J. Gable and Brandon Smith meet in the hole.
Gable 10 carries, 35 yards last week. Sneak by Harris for the first down as we set the green and gold offense for the Labor Day rematch.
Yeah, one of the issues for Edmonton's been their green zone production, and I'm going to say that the answer could be right there. Number 2, get him big time involved inside the 20, get the run game going, let these guys up front fire off the football. We talked about the size of Matt O'Donnell and Travis Bond many times. Realize Jacob Ruby is 6'7", 320. And that's small for their O-line.
They do have a basketball team up front. Well, a heavy basketball team. Harris Daniels can't bring that one in with that matchup against Trey Roberson starting for the second straight week.
Anthony Johnson will play at that defensive end position for Chris Kasher. And you got Wiggin. We have a mic on Derek Wiggin inside, the Grey Cup champion, and played 71 regular season games. This guy, I think, is a candidate for outstanding Canadian in the CFL this year. He's an early front runner leading all players in defensive plays. And there's a veteran, over 600 career tackles for Brandon Smith.
Second and 10, they swing it out to Gable, and that one blown up. Jamar Waldy, strong side linebacker, is there to make the play, and the Eskimo punt team will come on.
3rd and 11 now.
Calgary won the toss and deferred, so tons of confidence in this Calgary defense, especially the way they played last week. Get that early punt from the Edmonton Eskimos.
Terry Williams back. He's second in the league in all-purpose yards. Sean White to punt. Virtually no wind here at the brick field this evening. And Terry Williams on a nice return taken down by Godfrey Onyeka. But Bo Levi Mitchell will enjoy good field position to start his 90th game start and his first on the road in 2019.
Yeah, 2-1 this year due to that injury. He was out for 7 games in a couple months, but came back in. Did not show any rust, really, on Labor Day against the Edmonton Eskimos. Went 19 of 28, 263, a touchdown and no mistakes. In fact, Calgary Stampeders offensively did not turn the ball over in that game, did not give up the sack, and got the win, decisive win.
Next win for Mitchell will make him the winningest starting quarterback in Stampeder history. And his first pass isn't caught. All bobbled and off the ground is incomplete. Josh Hupp replacing Markeith Ambles. So Bo Levi Mitchell with 71 career wins. Look who he's trying to pass here this evening.
Best winning percentage in the game's history.
Second and 10 from the 40. And Mitchell guns down. It's picked up. Danya Nampa comes up with the football, and it's an early takeaway for the Eskimos. Didn't have one last week. Get one in the opening 4 minutes. And the Eskimos look like they might be rolling early. Third interception tossed by Mitchell this year. Unampa's first as an Eskimo.
Underneath this throw, but watch why Bo Levi Mitchell throws it to that outside curl. Because Unamba opens his hips to Bagleton. Stop it there. He opened up his hips pointing this way to Bagleton and then spins out of it and gets underneath the throw to Klukas.
Mitchell threw 3 last year in the rematch. Here's C.J. Gable off the right side. Another big run for Gable. And the Edmonton Eskimos are in the red zone.
And this is where they've struggled, and I believe part of the solution is number 2. a big part can be number 2. Let the guys up front drive block, let them go and get somebody and open up some holes, and let the tough running of CJ Gable get the job done when you get down there close. It's a good start.
Yeah. Gable 2 for 20. Last week, the Eskimos only 37 rushing yards on first down. They've got 20 on the first 2 carries, and Gable's got 4. And gets dragged down there. Nice tackle by the tackle leader, Corey Greenwood. But this is what everybody's talking about in Edmonton. The lack of finish on these drives.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense when you look at the offense they're generating and then compare it to what happens when they get down inside the 20. It's not jiving right now, and Jason Moss and Trevor Harris are both sort of deflecting it, but are trying to anyway, but it is an issue. Only 2 teams below 50%. Edmonton's one of them.
Hold for their last 9, 2nd and 5, a push. And now throws end zone touchdown. They punch that in, Tavon Smith.
Got it done, and they got it done by running the ball twice first. Get CJ Gable, hit the line of scrimmage a couple of times, slow the pass rush so you get a chance, if you're Trevor Harris, to go ahead and find that opening, find the throwing lane, negotiate the pocket, and find your target in Tavon Smith.
Third touchdown for the rookie. Points off the turnover. Three plays, 24 yards for the major score. Sean White adds the convert. Just shy of the 5-minute mark here in the opening quarter. Eskimos strike first in the rematch. TSN is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, ranked #1 in quality by J.D. Power. Tavon Smith with the first touchdown, a breakthrough for the first time in 10 red zone visits for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Silence some critics right out of the gate here in the rematch.
Terry Williams from the 14. Williams reaches the 35. A flag comes down late on Yeka, and Beaulieu on the tackle.
That touchdown throw worked for a couple reasons. Pocket negotiation from Trevor Harris, for sure.
Penalty, first down.
And layered routes out of a bunch formation that puts a bind on Corey Greenwood. Take a look at the bunch, and you'll see Tavon Smith, number 4, in that bunch. But there's 2 layers on the crosser here, so Corey Greenwood's in a tough situation. If he steps up on the shallow crosser, which he does, he leaves the one behind him open. If he stays back on Smith, that shallow crosser is open. 36 can't be right on that play.
And after the touchdown, we saw Trevor Harris scamper down the field and head right to the Eskimo room. Not sure what that's about. Ryan Rajak patrolling the sidelines. We'll see if we get an update. Calgary back on offense. They start at their own 13 after the penalty. And the jet sweep goes to Huff. And Josh Huff has the initial Calgary first down.
All right, relax. It's early, relax.
White horse offense for you.
Come on.
How about Reggie Bagleton? Last 2 games, 18 for 311. Outstanding. You see Kateem Carey, who when everyone knew they were going to run the ball in the final few minutes of that game on Monday, they got it done. Ucombre Williams leads the way up front. That O-line probably played their best game.
Well, likely just an equipment issue as Trevor Harris returns.
I track it then. Track it.
For Huff, and here's Kateem Carey. 142 yards on Monday. This time controlled by that Eskimo D that is #1 in yards allowed this season.
They do want to shore up their run defense, but you're right. They're very good against the pass. 3 guys with 6 sacks. Armando Sewell's one of them, and he's had 3 in the last 5 games. Larry Dean can really help in that run defense. He's got to go tackle to tackle and play tough in the box. And our guy with the mic on, first time we're miking a safety. Well, listen to
What took us so long?
well, listen to Jordan Hoover get things lined up back there.
Second and 7. Mitchell is dropped. Eskimos get home. Late flag. Mike Moore getting to the quarterback. Was it a low shot? No sacks last week. Second time that's happened.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Major foul, roughing the passer.
And it is going against
96.
Edmonton, and another flag.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, second one. The second one is the controllable penalty that Edmonton's have problems with all season. After the whistle, penalties.
After the play, objectionable conduct. Edmonton, number 75. Up 10 yards. First
So
down,
Nick
Calgary.
Usher.
Yeah, Usher said something. Well, it wasn't Sewell. It was like Joseph got in there and Mike Moore got the initial penalty. Usher got the second one for something that he said, and they're going to try and straighten that out in the Edmonton sideline. That's a controllable penalty, and all of a sudden Calgary at midfield.
So up at the 52-yard line. Set up the screen to carry. Up over midfield and dropped by the middle linebacker, Larry Dean.
Boy, he was good. He was good on Monday. 143 yards on Labor Day versus Edmonton. And as I mentioned, that last 3 or 4 minutes, and everyone knew that Edmonton needed to stop. They knew Calgary wanted to run it and grind the clock, and they were still able to do it. Great play up front. The entire team, including Dave Dickinson, praised the offensive line all week in Calgary.
Terry said he was 3 or 4 yards beyond the line of scrimmage before he was even being touched. Got it again here. And he'll crash through for a Stampeder first down. Gets pushed back by Hoover and Bonte Diggs. Jordan Hoover, 10 tackles last week, which is
Yeah, you don't necessarily.
good, and it's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't necessarily want to see that from the safety, especially on tailbacks. He's the quarterback back there, so we should hear him get that secondary lined up, maybe make some checks on defense.
First down 47. Slants caught. Colton Hunchak in a starting role for the first time in his CFL career, replacing the injured Richie Sindani.
Yeah, Santani out. The Stampeders missing their number 3, number 4, number 5 receiver, and Sindani, Marquise Ambles, Frescason out a few weeks back.
Flow.
Hunchak, graduate of Notre Dame High School in Calgary, big Stampeder fan as a kid. And, oh yeah, he's the number 3 quarterback for Calgary today. Montel Cozart not in the lineup. Terry Williams with the carry, and Larry Dean has another tackle.
Yeah, you can bet this Edmonton defense heard all the praise the Calgary O-line got, heard all about Kadeem Carey on Monday and Terry Williams rolling in and how they couldn't stop the run. They're ranked 7th coming in. That defensive line, you know, going to be fired up to try and change that narrative. Really good. This defense really good against the pass. And you would think that's good enough in a pass-happy Canadian Football League, but you got to stop the run, too, because it can be demoralizing, and that's a little bit of what happened last week. But you look at their categories, first in the pass stats, that's their kryptonite, run defense. Got to shore that up.
Carry back in the block, and that pass, Hunchak makes a terrific catch.
Well, that's a good one.
Nice grab by the York University product.
Yeah, and that's Hunchak's going to make. He's going to earn the trust of Bo Levi game time really quickly with catches like this. I mean, all the reason in the world to be distracted there by Unamba underneath, but he maintained his concentration.
The last pick in the 2019 draft in the 8th round They call that Mr. Irrelevant, but he is not been very relevant in this first quarter. Second and 1. Bo's going to sneak for the first down. Or, excuse me, Nick Buckley.
Yeah, it's one thing, though, to have, a guy that you're working with in practice, you feel good with, and you know that Colton Hunchak's got a chance to work with the number 1s, and so Bo would have had a chance to work there, but you still have to earn it when you get into under the lights on game day. So a couple big catches there from Hunchak early is a good start in earning that trust.
Good-looking drive being orchestrated by the Stampeders. 9 plays, 48 yards so far in that series of Edmonton penalties. That one gunned to Begelton. Favorite target the last couple of weeks and the number 2 receiver in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, just 20 yards back of Brandon Banks for the top spot. Little bang route where he faked that he was going to run an outside curl and turn right into the inside into traffic. Knew he was going to take a hit from Larry Dean. He's on pace for 1,500 this year. Breakout year for Reggie Banks.
Absolutely. 5 touchdowns in his last 2 games. Stamps in the red zone. They have that little jet toss to Huff, and he's down around the 7, a 4-yard pickup for Josh Huff.
So you got Reggie Begelton. He's in number 2 right behind Brandon Banks of the Ticats. And if you take a look at this game, we've got 4 of the top 10 receivers in the league. Greg Ellenson, Ricky Collins has dropped down to the 3rd spot. He was in 1st for the last few weeks, has dropped down a little bit. Greg Ellenson neutral, and Tavares Daniels trying to catch up.
Up, shaken up, getting some attention. So Dave Dickinson's lost Josh Huff for the next 3 plays. Was able to make his way to the sidelines, but as you mentioned already, 3 starting receivers out of the Calgary lineup, getting thin at that position.
This is Eric Rogers' time, though. This is his office.
2nd and 6. Crosser, and that is knocked away. Larry Dean read the play, and a pass breakup intended for Reggie Begelton.
Remember the Edmonton touchdown the other end of the field. They had 2 layers there, so it put the linebacker in a bind. This time, there's no layers, just one crossing route, and it's Begelton to the right of your screen. He's just going to cross. There's no layer to pull him back. It didn't get there in time. That was Michael Klukas, who had to come across, get there faster, and try and influence Larry Dean to drop deeper.
A knockdown and 4 tackles for Dean in this first quarter. Brett has to put Calgary on the board, and it's 7-3 Edmonton after that 18-yard shot. Late first quarter here on the brick field in Edmonton this weekend. Much of the year is the lack of red zone production. It was a problem in Calgary. It was much discussed this week. A breakthrough earlier in this game with more. Here's Ryan Berchog.
Yeah, and Suits was talking earlier about how head coach Jason Moss maybe trying to downplay things a little bit. Told us that he doesn't want it to become larger than life in his room. Guys read about it in the media, it's talked about all the time, and suddenly they're in the red zone and starting to second guess themselves and get this here we go again attitude. He really does believe that they're getting a bit of a bad rap. He says internally they're not making a huge deal of it. There's no massive structural changes, no big change in the playbook. He feels it's a matter of execution, guys, but he wants to nip it in the bud before it becomes larger than life for his football team.
Trevor Harris said we're going to fix it now, and they, at least for the time being, did on that.
1 for 1 so far in this one. But to pretend it's not there, I'm not sure how much that helps. Because only 2 teams below 50%. The other team is Ottawa. They lost badly today. And it has been an issue for Edmonton that they've got to fix. And Trevor Harris sort of alluded to that, as you mentioned. We got to get it done now and just get it out of our heads. And they've started along that journey, along that path with that first touchdown throw to Devon Smith.
During the return, holding Edmonton number 29. 10-yard penalty. It's first down.
Now this is the other issue.
Yeah.
Brian Walker this time.
You know,
penalties on special teams took away a
big return.
A return touchdown last week.
Yeah, and it was 6-3 at that time. Calgary had the 6-3 lead when Edmonton took one back, took it all the way to the house, Christian Jones, and it was called back due to penalty. And they've done better at shortening that penalty list. They're down from 13 a game to about 7.5, but the timing on some of them is awful.
Here's Ellingson on the hitch. Stacked up around the 23-yard line, so short gain for Ellingson. Just 3 catches, 29 yards in the Labor Day game, 7th in the league in receiving. Only one explosion play on offense last week against that stout Calgary defense.
Why now? Win!
2nd and 7. And not able to connect there with Tavon Smith. 2 and out, the punt team comes on.
Communication issue there. Tavon Smith was supposed to run the bang route, just come in on a curl and then bang back out to the sideline, and he just didn't get out of that break very quickly.
Well, does Trevor Harris have a hand issue? Let's go down to Ryan Rashog.
You know, we saw Trevor Harris run into the locker room earlier, guys, then he came back. We're going to be careful not to speculate too much here, but I can tell you he was shaking the hand a lot when he came back, kind of squeezing his fist a little bit, did some stretching exercises in and around that throwing hand of his. Tried throwing the ball a few times, put some tape on it. You could tell he wasn't feeling too great with it, threw a few more balls, and then, of course, you see on the field that last throw of his well off. And I can tell you right now, he's looking down at his hand even more, so we'll keep a close eye on the throwing hand of Trevor Harris.
Yeah, you saw him continue to flex it, and that issue after the touchdown pass to Tavon Smith early on.
We'll search through the replays of that first drive to see if we can find maybe a throw where he may have followed through and hit a helmet.
Logan Kilgore starts to warm up. I wonder if this happened last week, because for the first time this year they got Jeremiah Briscoe as a 3rd quarterback on the roster. 1st and 10 for Mitchell, a good field position, and a diving catch there by Bangleton.
Come on, you know that hit the ground.
Eskimos defense says incomplete, and the officials also signal no catch.
Hey, baby. Hey, 10. Hey, Larry. Jay, inside.
Wow. It looks like a pretty nice snare by Bangleton.
Yeah, I think.
Are they going to challenge this?
Looks like Dave wants to challenge Dave Dickinson early in the game to do that on a.
I don't know. They might call the timeout. They're trying to check it. Thank you.
Calgary is challenging the ruling of an incomplete pass. They believe it was a catch. The play will be reviewed.
You know, I think it was close enough that you could take another look at it if you're head coach. I always wonder when it's this early in the game and how important it is not to lose. If you lose this challenge, if Dickinson loses it, he loses. He doesn't get another one, and he loses a timeout. Now, the question is not, I don't think, in the first, when he first dives for the ball here. The question is when he rolls. He's got to maintain it. It looked like he had it there. Does he have it at that point? Because we lose it.
So let's see after the roll, does he?
That's what I'm wondering.
And does look good from this point. Dave has not won a challenge this year, 0-3.
I think that first turn, it looked like he... Now the standard for the command center is clear and obvious mistake.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Calgary, by losing the challenge, has lost a timeout. 2nd down.
So the challenge flag of Dave Dickinson's been discarded.
Exactly.
He's done. I thought he had a case, but
I just don't
challenge for a 7 or 8 yard play is
exactly. That's the only thing I would question too. Is You know, it's early, it's first quarter, it's not even a first down play, let alone a scoring play.
Stamps the only team that have not won a challenge this year. 2nd and 10. Over the middle, and that is caught. And Begelton nearly got away. Yanambo brings him down, but it is a Stampeder first down.
Larry!
Bo Levi Mitchell is sort of fading away from some of these throws, and he's just relying on pure trust with his #1 target, Reggie Begelton. He just believes that Begelton will find the ball, come back, and run through traffic to get it. That's one thing that really stands out with 84 is his courage going into the middle. Like he is fearless going into the middle where those linebackers hang out.
10 catches on Monday. Kadeem Carey, and he is brought down immediately. What a first quarter for Larry Dean. Jason Moss wanted physicality, and his middle linebacker has brought it. Into 15 minutes here. Eskimos with the lead. Some concerns about their quarterback. But a takeaway by Don Yanamba helped set up the only touchdown of the opening quarter in the Labor Day rematch from Edmonton.
Contain coarse language that could offend some viewers. Discretion is advised.
Turnover was key in that opening quarter. And
yeah.
Helps put the Eskimos on top.
Yeah, that was the play of the first quarter. Yanamba's interception set up the opening points. Edmonton heading down the path to silence the critics when it comes to their red zone lack of production coming in, and
no critics about the food possibilities here today.
Well, this is called the gridiron here at Brickfield, and I'm counting 4 or 5 patties in here. We got some chicken wings,
at least 3,
lots of layers of bacon. I think they've confused the crews, though.
Yeah,
clearly.
Dwayne Ford apparently should have been here for this game.
Dwayne Ford would have had this gone by now, but I'm going to wait till I have more time. Tons of fun, a full, big crowd here at the Brickfield at Commonwealth.
2nd and long. Mitchell over the middle. Lunge there, but incomplete. But we do have a flag, and it looked like Eric Rogers was bumped downfield. And
what?
It's Anthony Orange.
Pass interference, Edmonton number 41. Automatic first down.
Well, they're going to call it on Money Hunter.
Wow, that was marginal at best, but there was a little bit of contact over the middle. I don't know that it...
Hey, what we got? Hold up.
Could you pass the ketchup?
Oh, you're chowing down. Okay. You might need the whole second quarter to get through that bad boy.
Well, first down by penalty. At the Edmonton 25. Kadeem Carey releases. Mitchell looking into the corner. Begelton! Touchdown! His 7th of the year, and Reggie Begelton on fire. He has 6 in the last 2.5 games.
Bo Levi Mitchell trips into the boundary. That's 3 receivers into the short side of the field. You don't see it very often, and there's a reason for it. They're trying to get 3 into the boundary to try and get a matchup where a linebacker has to step out and get Reggie Begelton. So that linebacker became Don Yanamba, who's in pretty good position. But Begelton wins the battle at the top of the route. It's just a shallow corner route into the end zone. The throw is bang on.
Catch gives the Stampeders the lead. It gives Begelton the league lead in receiving as he just goes past Brandon Banks. Convert from Paredes is good. And Calgary's got its first lead.
I'm on Texas 409. So 409. Hey, mama. Hey, daddy. I wish I was here.
4 touchdowns against Montreal. 1 last weekend. 1 here early in the second quarter.
When you take a look at, this is what I mean by trips into the boundary, and this is the terminology. That's the 1 receiver, 2, and Bagel is number 3. Reggie Begelton is going to run that shallow corner route right here, And when you put 3 into the boundary, it means that Unumba, the linebacker's got to walk out there, and he's got to pick him up in man-to-man coverage. And when he gets in man, he's in pretty good position on the inside shoulder, but Begelton just keeps working for it and then wins the jump ball when the ball arrives. And you just cannot throw a tighter spiral more accurate than Bo Levi Mitchell did there.
So in the last 6 quarters, and really 5 and a little bit, Begelton 368 yards on 21 catches. Pretty good average, over 60 yards a quarter.
6 TDs.
Return across the 30 for Christian Jones, and it won't be Trevor Harris. He's staying on the sidelines.
Been through Hamilton, Logan Kilgore.
Yeah.
2 years in Toronto on their practice roster.
5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Oh, got another kick, so Kilgore's going to have to wait and hope for better field position.
At a Middle Tennessee State 4-year CFL veteran who's waiting for his opportunity. We've seen a lot of young quarterbacks play this year, get a chance to step in. And Chris Streveler, congratulations to the Bombers in their win in the Banjo Bowl.
Well, you saw it just as we were handling the stats and the burgers that Trevor Harris was trying to loosen up that arm on the sidelines, shook his head that it just wasn't working.
You know, he gives the ball to Gable here. And we found this was just before the touchdown throw, and after he handed the ball off to C.J. Gable there, there was something just not right. It's like something about his grip, his hand, maybe it's the forearm that's causing a problem. You don't want to speculate, as Ryan mentioned, but
it's interesting that Bo Levi Mitchell missed all that action with the non-contact injury, and now it appears anyway, unless something happened this week or on Labor Day Monday, that the same scenario, different injury, but another non-contact injury maybe knocking Trevor Harris out. So that leaves, does that leave Mike Riley as the last man standing? Has every starting quarterback been injured this year at one point or another?
I think that's it. And the guy that's left standing has taken by far the most hits. Go figure.
Eskimo bench telling us that Trevor Harris is questionable to return and have to lean on this guy a little bit. And he's off and running in this game. C.J. Gable with another first down run.
Yeah, I agree. Not just C.J. Gable, but they're going to have to now just lean into guys like Greg Ellingson and Ricky Collins. Have those guys make sure, you've got to calm the quarterback down, make sure he feels comfortable and relaxed. Your veteran out there, and make those key catches. The ball's not quite where you want it. Got to make the catches anyway. Give him some confidence.
Logan Kilgore with one career Canadian Football League win. And they're waiting on Gable that time, and he is brought down in the backfield. Tackle made by Deshaun Downey into the lineup for the rematch. Did not play on Labor Day. Again, Chris Casher out for Calgary, was involved in a car accident this week, and that's why he is not here.
Anthony Johnson will rotate in as well. But a nice play to knife down in there and tackle Gable for a loss.
2nd and 13, so let's see. Kilgore throwing the football, and he's on target with his first throw to Greg Ellingson.
Yeah.
Pretty good place to start.
Yeah, that's where I'd lean to if I'm Logan Kilgore. Just go to the veteran, go to the route runner, give him a chance, get him anywhere in the cylinder and his reach, his wingspan, and he'll bring it in. And that's a key catch. I mean, those first couple of throw catches are important for a young quarterback, and look at Ellingson go get that.
Fraser Sopik injured on the play. Ellingson with a 20-yard catch. Put in the Eskimos into next week. It's the Red Blacks invading BC to take on the Lions. So the Misery Loves Company Bowl action gets underway 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. Only on TSN. Jonathan Jennings going back to the West Coast.
Got to go back and watch the tape on that one. Getting ready for this one. Sopik getting some medical attention on the sideline. Looks like he'll be fine.
First down for Edmonton. Fake to Gable on a roll, and he's back on target. Ellingson's got it at the 30. It's another Edmonton first down.
Right back to him. Just build some confidence. Go to Mr. Reliable and go to the guy that probably got the surest hands in the game.
Hey, what we doing? What we doing? Tiger. Straight.
3 catches for Ellingson so far. Fake to McCarty. Swinging it out to Gable. Gets the edge. And has another first down. Logan Kilger's got the green and gold rolling here. And while we get the opportunity, I know all of the nation is celebrating. Isn't she something?
Yeah.
What a spectacular performance. Our congratulations to Bianca Andreescu. And
Two
the
sets.
celebration is going right across the country all night long.
Great day of sports.
She the North. Gable inside. In fact, the TV screens in the media room here were, I think, 4 out of 5 were on the tennis
Foul, face mask.
with the
Calgary
Banjo
number
Bowl
36.
score the way it was.
Up half the distance to the goal, an automatic first down.
So face mask call against Corey Greenwood.
Give it a little extra when it's this game in this rivalry. A rematch. Corey Greenwood rips that one right out of there. He gets the penalty. What a season he's having. I've got him as a nominee. Outstanding Canadian. Maybe outstanding defensive player as well.
First to goal. And here's Ellingson on that cross for Darryl Law to bring him down around the 4.
Well, how about Logan Kilgore?
Yeah.
You know, I think he looks real poised. The guy just steps on the field. He's basically his first reps of the season. And Trevor Harris has thrown every pass in game action this year.
4-year guy, which is the same as Cody Fajardo and Vernon Adams and Nick Arbuckle, a 3-year man who came off the bench to replace Bo Levi Mitchell. The backups have been able to do the job for the most part this year, and Kilgore trying to follow that script.
Well, coming into this game, just 114 pass attempts in game action.
Got another injured Stampeder. There was a lot of talk this week in Calgary about the bumps and bruises they had despite coming up with the win. A lot of players were given the practices off this week to rest up for the rematch, and Dave Dickinson down to check on Cordero. News from the U.S. Open was today. The men's final comes your way tomorrow. Nadal Medvedev action gets underway 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, only on TSN. They used to play this game on the Friday, an extra day to rest, but already taking its toll in the Battle of Alberta. Second and goal from the 4. On the sidelines, Kilgore looking into the end zone, has to step up, takes off, and Logan Kilgore not going to get there. Royce Menchie closed quickly from his safety spot. It'll be 3rd and 2.
I think Jason Moss is going to send the field goal team out there. He's not going to, with his backup quarterback on the field, take the points when you can get them. Like the decision, and you're right, Menchie just closes so quickly. He was right in the middle of the back of the end zone when he took off to get started there, and he kept him out of the end zone.
In fact, they spotted at the 3, so the Eskimos will look for 3 from Sean White. 3 for 3 on Labor Day. Game tied. Well, Reggie Begelton has the touchdown today. He had a touchdown last week. 10 catches, 138 yards in that game. And as we mentioned, now the #1 receiver in the Canadian Football League, Ryan Rashawn, has more on the trust he is developing with his quarterback.
Yeah, Chris, talking to Bo Levi Mitchell, he said one of the things that Begelton has improved most is the pace of his route running. Trains with a lot of NFL players in the offseason, and a lot of times it's just about who's the fastest, not necessarily the same in the CFL. He said earlier on he was running all of his routes at 100 miles an hour as fast as he could. He has learned to pace himself, let the coverage develop, and then hit the sweet spots at full speed. Said he's really improved that. It's made him more reliable, and the results, gentlemen, are in the statistics.
And he's good after the catch, too. Came into this game #2 in
Calgary
yards after catch.
So many receivers, good receivers in the league have said that when they first get there, come out of college, and you know, in college you can, a lot of times you can just run by, flat out run by people, but you know, you get to the pro level and they play multiple defenses, and now you've got to read defenses, know when you're playing against man, know when you're going against zone looks, and it's not always about running full speed and speed itself. Sometimes it's about running and thinking on the fly.
Take the carry on a roll, and that pass incomplete, like off the hands of Charlie Power, and it looked like the intended target was further downfield. I just want to get back to Begelton, Suits. We'll take a look at this first.
Begelton was the fake going the opposite direction, try and draw the coverage on that play. But yeah, 2 targets in the same line.
But Begelton, a year on the practice roster. This is 3rd year in the lineup, so 4 years to become that star player. It doesn't happen overnight for many.
It doesn't. Stick with it. Stick with it.
2nd and 10. Field intercepted. 2nd interception, and this one got Josh Johnson his 2nd of the season. Again, Mitchell intercepted 3 times last year in this game. Twice in the opening half here. Earlier it was Danya Namba, and midway through the 2nd quarter, a steal by Josh Johnson. Eskimo football when we come back.
Boy, Josh Johnson's on my all-star team, Chris. I don't know about you, but 2nd interception. Nice job of getting underneath coverage there and route running, basically running the route.
Come on. Hey, I love you, mama. DJ, hold it down, baby boy.
Back in August, we had him live mic'd, and boy, he was like he was in the Calgary huddle. Reading plays. CJ Gable is going to get tossed down quickly here.
Well, just reading routes. That comes from film work and study, and he's going to start out at the halfback spot right here, pick up his man in a trail position. As he picks up his guy, he gets in the trail, and now he's just going to be patient on the undercut right here. Just going to be patient, run with him, and if Bo Levi Mitchell tries to knife it in there and get it to his guy, that's when he makes his break on the ball. He's 2nd in the league in knockdowns with 8 coming into this game this year, or this season, and 2 interceptions now.
And Kilger fires quickly. Natea Jay, 2nd among Canadian receivers, has the catch. It'll be short of the 1st down at the 45-yard line. And 3rd and 3. Going to try a 52-yarder here.
Sean White's been money all year. His long on the season, 48 coming into this game. It's like they're going to punt it away, I think they're going to punt it away.
Kilger 5 for 5 since replacing Trevor Harris. 61 yards. Sean White has not kicked one inside the 10 this year. He'll look for the pin here.
This is an ideal spot to fake if you're
going
to do that.
Not on. And he does look for the corner. Williams fields it at the 7. And contained there, Christoph Malumba. Shamunga down in a hurry to bring Williams down just outside the Calgary 10-yard line.
You mentioned last year's game in the rematch, and Calgary Stampeders, Bo Levi Mitchell had a good game. I mean, he threw for over 400 yards, but he did throw the 3 picks.
How about 491?
Yeah.
Calgary with 590 yards of offense, a furious comeback.
Hey, Uno.
They even thought they came back to tie the game on the final play. Remember that controversial catch, no catch in the end zone by Johan Breskison. Long field here. Game time, second quarter. Kadeem Carey trying to get the edge, and he does. Nice run up to the 20. Jason Moss this week was talking about setting the edges better, containing Kadeem Carey.
Yeah, harder edges. You can't let the edges get melted down by the tackles. Costati and Derek Dennis. And Kadeem Carey was able to jump cut and bounce to the outside last week.
Second and 3. And it's complete to Jack. Having himself a game in his first Canadian Football League start. Gets drilled into the Eskimo bench.
He's not allowed to finish.
And a late hit's going to be flagged.
They're saying that Money Hunter hit Hunchak when he was already out of bounds. Is that a call?
Play an automatic first down.
Take a look. You be the judge. Was the Calgary receiver
Walk,
out?
where you at? Purple. Hey, walk. Hey, it's purple, but we're tracking.
He's out now.
And there, the helmet.
Hey, Bill!
Maybe the reason it
32! Copper!
turns into a 29-yard gain with the 15 tacked on. 63 penalty yards for Edmonton. And Carey wrestled down at the 52. Larry Dean in the middle of it again with Ponte Diggs.
You know, it's a tough one, especially in this rivalry game for Coach Jason Moss to try and keep that level of intensity. Tell the guys he wants to go out and battle, play hard, but also play discipline and make sure you're smart when it comes to penalties. Something that's haunted them this year all season. And you know, I think when you step into that, you've got to go to the remember that the intensity and the aggressive approach that you want for the game, you've got to focus.
Screen it here inside, and Bangleton again corralled by Larry Dean.
And the mistake I think they make, Chris, and what Jason Moss has made, is that every time they get that penalty, they turn and look at the ref like it's their fault, rather than just look in the mirror and say, that was a decision. I made a decision. It was the wrong one. I got to stop making those bad decisions.
Eskimos 9th in penalties. The Stampeders second fewest.
If the back goes out and then the receiver comes a running
Calgary
back.
isn't going to get points out of this, it doesn't look like, but they're going to get the field position. All they're going to fake it.
Rob Faber is throwing. Monte Milanovic leader is carrying it.
There you go.
And he's got a first down, so a gadget play on him. Formation, and Rob Faber's got another completion.
Boy, I tell you, anytime you're around midfield and the punt team's out there, you've got to be aware. And sometimes a team will leave their defense on the field just to be sure that they don't get beat on the fake. So you get the penalty to get the field position back. You get third and medium at midfield now, and it's not as risky to go ahead and call the fake punt.
32.
Calgary Stampeders, and now they're in plus territory.
25-yard gain. So Faber has long a completion in this game as Mitchell. And now Mitchell going to air it out, looking for Hop, incomplete. Money Hunter there defensively.
There's going to be
and a flag in the Calgary backfield.
I think there's going to be a holding call here against Calgary.
Holding, Calgary number 58. It's a 10-yard penalty, which means first down.
Ryan Sevier, the right guard.
The best special teams coaches in the business is right there, Mark Killam. And boy, they've always had just such a great return game. Some of the top special team tacklers in the game, and that's partly due to the schemes and the X's and O's that Mark Killam will draw up for the Calgary Stampeders. That's great fake, well executed.
Eskimos back them up 10, so 1st and 20. And pass caught by Rogers, lunges to the 28, so has about 11. And for Eric Rogers, his first catch of the game, 6 different Calgary receiver in this first half.
Hey, Don. Inside, baby. 10, take away inside. Hey.
The closer they get to the end zone, the more Jordan Hoover and company have to be wary of number 4.
Look like Jordan Hoover wants to seal the middle of the field.
2nd and 8. And they go back to Rogers. He's got it, and a first down at the Edmonton 11-yard line.
That's exactly what Jordan Hoover, I'm not sure if you heard it, but Hoover basically said, make sure you protect the inside of the field. So that's what he's got. Go ahead and run it. You see Rogers at the top of your screen here. Stop it here. Now they got a defender on the inside protecting the middle. And what did they run? An out for a first down.
17 yards. Mitchell up to 146 in his first half. They can get a first down without scoring. From the 11. Mitchell time, end zone. And it is a touchdown, Eric Rogers. Back in his neighborhood. And matching Bagleton for the team lead with touchdown number 7.
That was the Eric Rogers drive, wasn't it? It was a couple big catches in the series. Capped off right here, right at the goal line. Comes back for the football.
So they fake out a punt formation. Helps extend the drive, and then after the holding penalty, 3 straight Eric Rogers receptions. Convert from Paredes. And it's a 17-10 lead for Calgary. A 9-play, 97-yard drive. And the Stampeders are back on top. Remaining here in the second quarter, then it's Ram at the half. Rod with Hank.
Coach him up, coach.
Yep. Looking good with the vest, isn't he?
Yeah, oh yeah. Get him right, though.
And speaking of looking good, Mr. Stiegel also will weigh in on this first half of the Labor Day rematch. Logan Kilger now at the controls for Edmonton, dueling with Bo Levi Mitchell and Trevor Harris on the sidelines. And we're questionable to return in this game. Christian Jones up across the 30-yard line.
So Calgary starts deep in their own end. It looks like they're off the field. Looks like the Edmonton Eskimos have survived a bad penalty by Money Hunter, and then they're off, and then the fake by Calgary, well executed. Nice call from Mark Killam. And then Eric Rogers goes to work. He gets started with this catch. I love that they took away the inside, and somehow Dave Dickinson knew to call a play with an out route, and that 3 passes in a row to number 4 ended in the end zone. 97-yard drive. That's great play calling when you call it out and they're taking away the middle.
Can Kilgore keep pace? He's 6 for 6 out of the gate. Well, that swing pass to Gable up at the 39-yard line. 8 yards for Logan Kilgore to C.J. Gable. Kilgore's only action in the Canadian Football League back in 2016. He had 322 yards in a win over Ottawa the next week. 303 yards against Winnipeg, but 5 interceptions in that game. And it is his 3rd consecutive start against Edmonton with 7 for 14, 41 yards, and 2 more interceptions. And we haven't seen much of Logan Kilgore since. Ten interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and 728 yards in that action for the Argos in 2016.
Well, he's in the fire now.
Yep.
This is where you get tested, and this is where you find out, what you got. If you're Jason Moss and you've seen him and been happy with him in practice and training camp, you've watched him develop into the solid number 2 spot.
2-0, please.
And as you mentioned, in fact, the Edmonton Eskimos were only dressing 2 quarterbacks. He was the second for most of the year. So you don't know, though, until they get out there and it's the live action.
2nd and 2. They give it to number 2. First down for Gable to the 45.
So far, though, I'll say this. I think Logan Kilgore has shown great poise. It doesn't look like the stage is too big for him. He's getting them organized. He's calling his plays in the huddle. Looks calm and composed. He went 5 for his first 5 when he stepped on the field.
C.J. Gable's got 38 yards now, so more yardage in the first half than Monday. Flag comes down, pass complete, and whistled that down. And Jay didn't look like he was touched. And now a late flag in the backfield as well.
I know one guy, though, with Logan Kilgore in there. There's one guy in that Calgary secondary that's thinking, let's see. He's only attempted just over 100 passes in 4 years in the CFL. I might just bait him.
97, penalties decline. Legal block, hands to the face. Calgary is number 94. That penalty is accepted. 10 yards, first down.
Deshaun Downey called.
That'd be Trey Roberson
against Calgary.
That'd be Trey Roberson out there, Chris. It's sitting in that short side corner spot, and he's just saying, listen.
He's baiting the hook.
Yeah, he's saying, I'll just play off. Don't mind me back here. I'm just gonna play off and try and throw a hitch or something out here.
Swing it the other way. Nice grab by Ricky Collins. Gets the edge and gets the first down. There's Collins, who came into last week's game, the #1 receiver in the league. First catch today. Now 3rd in the league in receiving yards.
Yeah, kind of slipped a little in the standings, but he's not been the #1 target the last couple of weeks, and then he into that Winnipeg Blue Bomber game a couple of weeks ago. He had just 2 catches for 19 yards. That kind of took him out of the lead.
Kilgore 8 for 8 in his first action in 3 years.
Accuracy looks good.
First down, running out of time, running out of the pocket, directing traffic, looking for Daniels, incomplete, but a flag. Menchie was there. Deshaun Amos.
Hey, that's reviewable. That's reviewable. That's reviewable from Toronto.
And the Stampeders, you can hear, would like another look at that.
Reviewable.
First of all, Dave Dickinson was not happy his defense lost contain on the play.
Calling illegal participation. Daniels was out of bounds and came back to make a play.
Well, if he went out on his own, he can't come back and participate.
He went out of bounds. He went out of bounds. That'll be 10. Send him back. 20 a second.
I say, is Calgary, are they looking at this?
Legal participation. Edmonton number 80 went out of bounds, kept playing. It's 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Boy, that brings it all the way back to the 54-yard line. Let's take another look.
Look far right of your screen, and he steps out of bounds right there.
Yep.
You see that he's on the white stripe here, and then he'll come back in. It doesn't look like he was pushed by Raheem Wilson.
Some of the Stampeders were concerned that might have been going against Menchie, and Dave Dickinson was already trying to get that one overturned, but they'll take the penalty. First down, and now trouble all the way back. Cordero Law with the sack at the 46-yard line. So 2 plays, and Edmonton going in reverse to the tune of 23 yards.
Yeah, great stunt here where Cordero Law is going to line up at wide, and he's going to cut underneath here, and it's just a little stunt up front where they switch responsibilities. Cordero Law will take a step, and then he'll cut underneath, and once he gets underneath there, he runs right down the middle through Kilgore.
Mike! What's that on, guys?
Logan Kilgore, 2nd and 28. What you got? Pressure coming. Underneath it goes. Back to midfield. And Keeble fighting for a few extra yards.
And that's a good decision by Logan Kilgore. Sometimes you just gotta take your lumps, try and get what you can, and then get that field position advantage with a punt into the corner. Make it a real long field with a minute to go for Bo Levi Mitchell. But Terry Williams might have something to say about that.
Ran one back at the late stages of the first half. The end of November last year on this field.
I remember that.
It's a little slicker back then. TSN turning point in the Grey Cup game. Got this one at the 11. Flag down. And he is contained around the 25 and tossed down. Blair Smith leading the charge downfield.
During the return, illegal block, Calgary number 27. Half the distance to the goal, first down Calgary.
Jonathan Moxey flagged there. He got the game ball on the special team by Calgary on Labor Day Monday. So long field and not likely Bo Levi Mitchell. Well, we'll find out how he's going to handle this, because with the timeout, maybe Edmonton can force a 2-and-out and get it back.
Yeah, you take a look here. I think you got to be a little bit concerned of your backed up shadow of your own goalpost here. Grind it down and go in at halftime with the lead if you're Calgary. Yeah.
Inside carry, got a yard.
Especially in this game. You know, you got a hostile crowd, a hostile territory. You're backed up. You got the lead,
Timeout,
which is
Edmonton.
Place you want to be, and now Edmonton will call the timeout, just as you mentioned, to see if they can get the stop here and maybe get one chance for one play and then a field goal attempt.
Or if Christian Jones can provide a punt return to get him right into field goal range. But job one for the green and gold on defense is to get the stop here.
32!
Larry Dean has 9 tackles. Eskimo's going to be offside. And the catch made. Reggie Bagleton just short of the first down.
No.
See what the flag is.
Offside, Edmonton number 93. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Now Boateng just ahead of the snap. So 2nd and 4.
Room to punt it out of there, too. That 5 yards helps in that regard if they don't get it, Calgary.
Carry inside, and he is dropped immediately.
Yeah, maybe a couple, so they're going to have to kick this out of there.
So there may be time on the clock when the punt return from Christian Jones is done. Unless Rob Maver throws out a punt formation again, but I kid, because if he does that,
not a chance. But they're going to be 20 seconds. He can work off the clock here. So let's start it now. And
this is the first punt of the game now for Maver.
I'm sure he's been instructed to keep his eye on that 20-second clock.
There's snap. Jones waiting. That is 45. It's a short punt, so they might get into field. Oh, they give it away. Although it would be no yards. Went off the fingertips of Money Hunter into a Calgary cover man, but fortunately for Money Hunter, he was inside that 5-yard halo. So there is time here. And with the no yards, it should get into Sean White field goal range in a hurry.
If it's a first down, right? Yeah, absolutely. There's time for one quick play. You know, and you're Calgary. You're not gonna get up in press coverage or anything like that. You're gonna give them a little room. And that's Dave Dickinson talking to his special team, saying they left 8 seconds on when they snapped the ball, and he wanted to take it down. Now it'd been 1 second. It's either a field goal attempt here or half over.
No yards. Calgary number 40. Holding. Calgary number 36. Be first down Edmonton.
Edmonton 36, I think, was the second one, but
the holding is on Edmonton number 36.
There you go.
We got to get back. We only got to lose half the distance anyway.
Although there's no 36 listed for Edmonton, so
we'll sort that out.
In the dark, but that penalty does take it out of field goal range. And so Kilgore needs 13 yards here to get into white range or in that vicinity.
Yeah, I think you need a chunk. You need 20 yards. Make it a.
You want more.
I want 20. I want to get it to the 40.
White's longest 48 on the year, so.
Got some pretty good returners here for those real long ones too. But yeah, take a shot. I mean, Ellingson on a climbing post route.
I think they want to make sure they've got the ball spotted properly, and the Eskimos are going to earn a couple of extra yards. So they've moved it ahead to the Calgary 54. 14-yard out, and Sean White has a shot. Logan Kilgore 8 for 8, 92 yards in relief. Stepping up in trouble, and he is dropped. Another Calgary sack. That's their second, as they beat at the quarterback with 4 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that just the entire pocket collapses here. So the guys up front, they're going to try and create that pocket.
Hey, last play, guys.
And it just bull rush, collapse, team meeting for Calgary's D-line. Not team meeting, D-line meeting.
Give it to the Queens guy, don't you, Derek Wigan?
Give it to him.
He is second in as many games. There's Ellingson with the catch. And look at Ellingson. He's going to put it downfield. It's going to bounce in or close. And it's going to be covered by Mechie alertly inside the 1, but not inside goal. So
heads up by Mechie.
Heads up play by Ellingson. Heads up play by Mechie. Old school CFL to wrap it up. 17-10 at the half. Here's Rod Smith.
Thank you, CC. Back inside the studios for halftime. Welcome to Ram at the Half. It is brought to you by the all-new Ram 1500, Motor Trend's 2019 Truck of the Year, another winning season for Ram. Halftime of the third game of the triple-header. A busy Saturday, along with Henry Burris and Mike Benavides and Milt Stegall. And talk about heads-up plays. Certainly a good one for Calgary special teams. It's really led to the touchdown that's made the difference, Benny, so far in this game. That third down gamble at midfield.
Yeah, there's no doubt. We're all in here going, oh, man, poor Trevor, right? And Kilgore comes in and gives them some momentum. We're thinking, okay, it's going to swing. They're going to get the ball back. But here it is right here. The down and distance. It's 3rd and 3 at the 54. Someone's got to watch that guy who is an eligible receiver. Someone in the line of scrimmage missed their assignment, and that was a critical error because they end up giving up 7 points on a touchdown because the defense is backed up. And here it is there. Here comes the play, and it's a touchdown wide open in the end zone. But that play right there was a huge fake. But 3rd and 3 at that field position, some young man wasn't looking at the right assignment because someone's got to have their eyes on him, and that was critical. Now that was a big score.
Should they have kept their defense on the field right there?
Well, people do that sometimes, but if you don't, then someone's going to have their eyes on that receiver, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that touchdown, and also the Reggie Begelton touchdown that Mitchell threw to him. Don't get me wrong, it was a great throw and a great catch, but this shouldn't happen. Don Unamba right here has to understand where his help is. His help is inside. So when you're that DB, play hard outside. Invite that guy to the inside. But when you're playing inside like that, you have no help there. And Don Unamba is a Sam linebacker. It's difficult for him to cover Reggie Begelton on his own. But if he understood where his help was, that's not a touchdown. Then Bo Levi Mitchell maybe has to go to the other side of the field. Those are 2 plays right there that these Eskimos could have avoided if they just would have did their assignments like they should have.
Coach alluded to it, Henry, about the injury to Trevor Harris, and oddly enough, how it looked for a while like it might be a momentum swing with the way Logan Kilgore was playing. He was 9 for 9.
Yeah, you're right about that. But I was happy that Trevor and that offense were able to solve the riddle of finally getting the ball in the end zone. That's all they've been talking about in Edmonton. They wanted somebody's head on a swivel, but Trevor was able to use his feet to buy some time and find an open receiver. But unfortunately, he went down with whether it was a forearm or a hand injury. Of course, right now there's all speculation, but Logan Kilgore, it's his opportunity. He came in and he did a great job, guys. I mean, he's throwing the ball down the field. He's looking comfortable in this offense. This was the same offense that he ran with Scott Milanovich and the gang in Toronto. So he looks right at home with Jason Moss and the gang. He's 8 for 8 right now, and I think he's doing a great job of managing things. He's taking good care of the football, but more importantly, he's finding ways to get them down to the scoring zone. But again, the question is going to be asked now, can Logan Kilgore get them into the end zone?
Just hate to see another injured starter quarterback in Trevor Harris. Hopefully nothing serious. And for Logan Kilgore, his first pass thrown since 2016, his Eskimos trailing by 7 at the half. 7-11 player rankings coming up next.
2nd and 5, a punt, and now throws into touchdown. They punch that in, Tavon Smith. Kadeem Carey releases, Mitchell looking into the corner. Bagleton, touchdown. Reggie Bagleton on fire. The Stamps trying to repeat. The Eskimos look to reboot.
And now, once again, courtesy CFL on TSN producer Slurpee Boy, we present the 7-11 player rankings, talking about the top 7 deep threats: Darrell Walker, Brandon Banks, Shaq Evans, Dominic Rhymes, Brian Burnham, DeVere Posey, and number 7, Tavares Daniels. Those are Slurpee Boy's picks. Let's go to our resident deep threat here, Milt Stegall. What do you think, Milt? Do you like the list?
I'm about to shed a tear. I think Slurpee Boy,
Really?
I think so. Based on what I see right there. And some people be like, well, where's Reggie Bagleton? Reggie Bagleton's having a great year, great receiver, but deep ball threat. That's what we're talking about. I think Brandon Banks is the best playmaker, but as far as deep ball threats, I think he got it correct with Darrell Walker being number 1.
You know, you're pretty close. Slurpee Boy almost got it. But no, didn't get it quite right. Brian Burnham. It's got to be a little bit higher for me on that when you talk about long ball.
I agree with you 100% because, I mean, who else are they throwing to in Vancouver? I mean, he's the only guy they're throwing to down the field. I got to move him up. But me personally, number 1 in my book, Shaq Fu Evans. I mean, he 30-plus yard receptions. He's one of the top. Well, he's number 1 in the league, and 20-plus yard reception. Milt, I know you're looking at me.
I'm
he's
looking
number 1
at
in
you.
the league.
I'm
going to move Speedy B down. I'm moving DeVere Posey down.
You moving Speedy B down?
Yeah, I mean, he's still the best playmaker in this league, but he's not the deep threat like Shaq Evans.
Yes, he is.
He's not a deep threat like Darrell Walker.
He does it all.
He does do it all.
He does it all.
He's not the same deep threat like those guys are.
So if you got a long ball, you go, and don't get me wrong, Shaq is killing it. You would pick Shaq over Speedy B?
Yes,
with Speedy B speed, you would pick Shaq.
I love Speedy B. But if I'm throwing up, I want a big body because today it's the day of the 50-50 ball, and that's how most quarterbacks are throwing the deep ball.
I want somebody who can just run by him. I don't have to worry about the 50-50 ball.
I love guys who can run by him too, Milt, but I sit behind this desk. I'm not throwing it, and the guys who are throwing it, they're throwing 50-50 balls these days.
So you say Shaq is number 1?
I got Shaq number 1, Darrell Walker number 2.
And Speedy B is number 3.
Number 3.
Wow.
And then I got Burnham number 4.
So where are you coaching? Did you have you were great with the list?
Pretty good with the list. I just want to bring him a little higher. But I just want to see you guys keep going.
I was just going to say, the coach wisely positioned between the quarterback and the deep threat receiver
he
as well.
May be coaching soon, so
keeping Darrell Walker on top of the 7-11 player ranking. Well, we mentioned Reggie Bagleton. He's the leading receiver in the CFL, and he's got a touchdown, and the Stampeders have a lead. It's 7 points, and we'll have the numbers and more coming up in the CFL on TSN. Halftime in Edmonton, Stampeders lead the Eskimos by 7. Here's Milt with the stats.
Yeah, Bo Levi Mitchell, solid, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. The story of the first half has to be Logan Kilgore. He hadn't played since October 2nd, 2016, but you would never know. 9 for 9 for 105 yards. Also, Reggie Bagleton continues to impress with 60 yards in that first half.
On 4 catches, a touchdown, too. He keeps rolling. Here he is with Ryan Rashad.
Reggie, another good half of football offensively from your team dating back to last week. Why do you think you guys have been able to move the ball so well against this defense?
Well, we're playing fast, and we know they're going to bring it to us, and we're just trying to bring it back to them. We know it's going to be a hard-fought game, and we're just trying to keep it that level.
You're having a lot of personal success this year. When you evaluate your game and the improvements that you've made, what do you think's allowed you to get to that next level?
I just believe in myself, and I keep striving every week. Every week of practice, I try to work on something simple and come out and try to do it the next week in the game.
How impressed are you with your quarterback last week coming back off the injury and continuing to be consistent?
Well, we have a good group of quarterbacks. No matter who they are, we know that they trust everybody at receiver, and we're just going to stay committed.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Eskimos fan.
He now leads the CFL in receiving yards. Another touchdown for Begelton. The Eskimos trailing by 7 with the second half about to begin here in the CFL on TSN. The halftime show brought to you by the new Ram Heavy Duty, the most capable heavy duty pickup ever. Always ready for the second half, and we are too.
Touchdown separating the Alberta rivals as we get set for the second half from Edmonton. But first, to the sidelines, Brian Rashocks with Logan Kilgore.
Well, Logan, it had been some time since you threw a regular season CFL pass. I wonder how the nerves were, but I mean, based on the statistics, it seemed they were pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they're good defense over there, so you know, obviously any chance you get to play is what you want. But you know, at the same time, it's against the champs, and we got to come out in the second half and execute.
You throw a lot of reps in practice. You're obviously ready to go, but what are the challenges having not played regular season play in a certain amount of time to make sure that your game stays kind of in that zone?
The only challenge is that you just don't really know until you do it, right? So hadn't been hit in a while, felt good, and now it's time to get after it in the second half.
Thanks, Logan.
Thank you.
Love that. Yeah. Haven't been hit in a while, felt good.
Felt good. And you don't really know until you do it. He's out there doing it, 9 for 9. He came on for Harris. Here we go.
Short kick up for grabs. And who's got it? Urchi Miela brings it down for Calgary. So Edmonton comes out gambling, and the rookie Miela, their #1 pick in 2019, sure hands it for the Stampeders.
That's why you put an athlete in that position. You always, whether they kick it deep or not, you're going to have a good DB or receiver out there on the wing so that it, just in case they try it. Unumba came underneath, looked like he had the best angle at it. But Miela ripped it out, won the jump ball.
And at the bottom of the pile, Money Hunter is slow to get up.
Instant field position when a play like that backfires.
So Hunter shaken up, and when the teams came out after the break, Trevor Harris threw a few.
Yeah,
looked encouraging for a couple throws, and then that nod of discomfort and frustration.
Yeah, he gave it a try. I mean, it was 3 or 4 throws. You could see he's shaking his head. Didn't work. It's not going to happen. So it looks like it'll be Kilgore's game rest of the way.
And a chance here early for Calgary to expand the lead. Field position start in Edmonton territory.
Hey, more Copper! Hey, coming back!
Mitchell 70% in the first half, 157 yards. Play action fake. Rogers is suddenly the favorite target. Number 4 has his 4th catch. It's an 18-yard connection.
Boy, it really works that way with this Calgary offense, and the way that Dave Dickinson designs it is that it depends on the coverage and what the opponent is going to do to try and defend you as to who may become the featured receiver. We've seen Begelton the last couple of weeks. He's stepped up and been the guy. And in that second quarter and now to start the second half, looks like it's Eric Rogers' night.
Eskimos defensive coordinator trying to find a way to slow them up. And short tackle there of Lucas.
You're a bad man.
On the
That's your bad man.
defensive play by Brian Walker. So a loss of a couple.
Right here, Phil Volley. Conventional wisdom says go with four-man rush. Make Bo Levi dump it underneath. Rally to the tackle. Hold him short of the first down. Show blitz. Three-man pressure.
Time. And the pass is caught. Nice. They're going to rule incomplete. Bingleton, who thought he had one in the first half that was unsuccessfully challenged, arguing that one as well.
And Dave Dickinson lost that challenge, so he does not have another one. We'll take another look at it here. Boy, it looked like he might have got the arms underneath it.
One more angle. Looks like a catch.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think Bingleton's been robbed of a couple in this game.
Nothing Dave Dickinson can do about it now.
Paredes, the field goal attempt from 46 out is good. It's a 10-point lead. So the short kick backfires, and it's now a 10-point Calgary advantage. Backups have played a prominent role this year in the Canadian Football League. Logan Kilger trying to continue that trend.
You know, he looked pretty good, 9 for 9 to start when he came on for Trevor Harris. And you know, I think what you look for is one, is the stage too big for him and the lights too bright? And I didn't see that. I didn't see any sense of panic from Kilgore. I thought he was composed in the pocket, moved the ball in that very first series.
Here's Christian Jones trying to get inside. Angled out just beyond the 35, or going to rule it right at the 35-yard line, and Kilger back to work.
When he did get it going, it was 2 passes in a row right out of the gate to Greg Ellingson, and that really seemed to help him to settle in.
Only pass that wasn't caught was negated by the penalty when Tavares Daniels stepped out of bounds. Former Stampeder Daniels without a catch so far in this game. Gable on first down. He has close to 7.
Now, if you're Calgary defensively and you're playing a young quarterback, you got to be thinking pressure. Put the pressure on him. See if it busts that pipe, or is that pressure gonna turn Kilgore into a diamond? You don't know until you send the pressure at him. I would be sending linebackers, halfbacks. Let's see if the kid can handle some pressure.
C.J. Gable hit the 800-yard mark with that last carry. 2nd and 3. Got time. Going to take a shot. Got an open target. And it's back. Oh, no. Daniels unable to hold on. Raheem Wilson got back and able to jar it loose.
A little bit underthrown because Tavares Daniels 2 or 3 steps in behind Raheem Wilson on this play. The ball's a little bit underthrown, and that makes Daniels try to come back to it, and it gives Wilson a chance to stay back in the fight and get himself back in there, and he sticks with it and rips it out.
Do your thing. It was like side pop.
That's Calgary secondary with 3 new starters this year. Mechie, Amos, and Wilson. But have held up well. White boots of Terry Williams from inside the 30. And a good Williams return up to the 43-yard line. Get into a new season of CTV's The Amazing Race Canada as we bring the country together one pit stop at a time. The Amazing Race Canada, all new Tuesday at 9, 8 Mountain, only on CTV. Series winners earlier today in Ottawa, ending their long road slump. It was Winnipeg over Saskatchewan in the Banjo Bowl, and Calgary looking for a sweep with the Eskimos after winning the first 2 meetings this year. Oh, a bust here. Kadeem Carey got run over by Nick Usher.
Yeah, Usher got there. It was a broken play. Bo Levi Mitchell turned around to hand it off, and either Kadeem Carey went the wrong way or Bo turned the wrong way. One or the other. There was a mistake. Nope, there's no handoff. And he says, well, here, just take it anyway. And by that time, Usher was bearing down and put a Lucabo-type hit.
Well, the Eskimos have said nobody's more aggressive than Nick Usher up front. And that pass threaded through, and Eric Rogers continues his big evening here back into Edmonton territory.
Ice in the veins for that guy. Ice in the veins for 19.
He just 19 with a 19-yard connection.
He's just going to say, okay, look, I know that there's going to be coverage in here, but I got number 4. I'm just going to put it right now out of his break. Bang. Look at that. In between 3 defenders.
Fifth catch for Rogers. Speaking of 19, Bo Levi Mitchell, 19th all-time. He passed Patrick Holloway last week on the all-time passing list. And off inside to Williams, and he gets dropped in a hurry. Tackle made by Mike Moore.
Edmonton's defense has been much better against the run, although Dave Dickinson really hasn't.
Edmonton. It's 5-yard penalty, means first down.
Hasn't tested the run defense all that much. I mean, Kadeem Carey with just six carries in the run game for 15 yards.
20 yards rushing for the Stampeders as a team.
You know, based on the way the Labor Day game on Monday ended, I think probably everybody felt like Dave Dickinson would go with Carey, try and pound the ball so he can get the run game going. He really hasn't tested him that much tonight.
Mike Moore called for offside, so first and 5. Rogers stays in the block, and that pass is caught. Bangleton again off the turf, and he shakes his head. And, yeah, I got that.
This one,
that one's going to stand.
this one, similar catch. He's made 3 now.
Welcome back, baby.
I think you got a guy that just, again, sticking with it. There's an example of what he told Ryan, that he doesn't have to run full speed to get open sometimes. Sometimes you just have to know the spot, and he's been working on that matchup with Don Unamba a few times tonight.
1-2 play. Rogers 76 yards, Bangleton 72. Here comes pressure, and Mitchell threw that through the hands of Bangleton with the pressure coming from the backside. Well, we got an opportunity. A happy 30th birthday to our ace stats man, Ryan Moyer, crunching all the numbers for us.
The new guy. New guy in the booth, doing a great job.
Hey, Trap! Larry, Trap!
Happy birthday, little big boy.
Play action fake.
Whoa,
there the middle. Mitchell's on targeting into Bangleton.
I don't think you heard it because there was some colorful language right after the hit from Jordan Hoover, but I'll paraphrase. He said, I need the will right here. That's the will linebacker that he needs to drop right underneath that in route, because if he keeps coming up on that in route, Bo Levi Mitchell's going to go behind him with a deep post.
13 more for Bangleton. The carry end zone pass incomplete at the goal line. Anthony Orange in a battle with Eric Rogers.
Always boys.
Let me show you what I mean. This is a little bit of an example of it. Not quite the route that I was thinking, but this is Eric Rogers here, and then a post coming over the top. And what they're trying to do is get, if Hoover's going to keep moving up on an in route, then they'll try and layer and get him behind him. And you see he steps up and goes to the field this time, and that backside seam route, if they shake it right up the field and go deep, they might have a play there.
Second and 10 from the red zone. Here comes Unamba. Pass into the end zone, incomplete. Hoover closest man to it. And there is a flag. It's a holding call against Calgary that Edmonton will decline.
Holding, Calgary number 35. Penalties declined, becomes third down.
Kadeem Carey put the clutch on one of those Edmonton rushers.
It was Unamba. Unamba with a great rush off the edge, and he made an inside move. Kadeem Carey was excellent last week, excellent on Monday in pass protection. In fact, he got more praise for that than his over 100 yards, as you mentioned off the top of the show. And he's real good at it. He takes pride in it, much like C.J. Gable. But that was a nice inside move by Unamba, and he got called on the holding.
Perez from 27 out. Rob Maber is the holder.
We survived. He wasn't supposed to run that route.
13-point Calgary lead. Midway through the third quarter. Well, everybody buzzing across the country again. Congratulations to Bianca Andreescu, the U.S. Open Women's Champion today. And the Eskimos had the tennis match on in the dressing room, and Tavon Smith, well, it made an impact on him. That was the celebration after the Eskimo touchdown.
Well, tennis celebration. When history is made in our country, everybody's watching, and congratulations.
First for Bianca, maybe the first tennis themed celebration in an end zone in the Canadian Football League.
Cool, though, that guys getting ready for the Battle of Alberta, and then in their locker room, they've got the tennis match on, watching, I'm sure, along with other monitors with the Banjo Bowl on. But Tavon Smith paying homage.
Whoa.
No gain for Daniels there, so 2nd and 10. Trevor Harris had warmed up again on the sideline, but still not comfortable. Kilger steps up, takes a shot, and Daniels couldn't reach it. And Mechie there looked like he had a chance at the interception. He got some grief this week. Had an interception, but also had one off his face mask. And let's find out how close he might have got to an interception here.
Ball just sails on Kilgore. He's trying to get Daniels over the middle.
And that's
right off the
helmet
noggin again.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Back-to-back 2 and outs. Pressure on White, got away, and Williams from the 31. Up at the 40. That's where Calgary will start with a 13-point lead. Trevor Harris back to the room with 5:38 to go. Big showdown next week for Calgary against the Hamilton Tiger Cats with a 9-2 record.
Copper!
Stampeders with a chance to move into second place in the West.
Key series for the Edmonton D right now.
Pass over the middle, and it is caught. Josh Huff with the 13-yard reception.
Bo knows it too, because a field goal makes it a 16-point lead. That's still 2 possessions with 2 two-point converts. But if you score major here in your Calgary, you take it to 3-possession game with a backup quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos. Pressure's on the Edmonton D right now.
5-4 at the turn, but in the 4 Calgary losses, they had double-digit leads in each of them. They've been in every football game this year. And they look like they're getting better by the week.
Number 35 comes down right here in a second down. One more conversion for Calgary, and they're back in field goal range. Although that's survivable for Edmonton with just, again, 2 possessions, 2 two-point converts.
2 takeaways for the Eskimos in the first half.
Roger.
They could use one here.
Roger is likely strong right, if you heard Jordan Hoover mention that. He's going to put the strength to the field there, strong right.
2nd and 7. Off the edge pressure, and that's incomplete. Hit the ground on Bingleton. Money Hunter back in defensively for the Eskimos.
Key stop. That's a key stop. That's a big stop for Edmonton. But as Kilgore's gone through some 2-and-outs now, you know, you start to lose faith. You came out hot, put 3 or 4 first downs on the board, moved it down the field with young Logan Kilgore, and then since then it's been a handful of 2-and-outs. You start to lose faith. Can he get it done?
Jason Moss could use a return. One big return for Edmonton all year, and they have not had a return touchdown in 3.5 years. Mabel with a tremendous punt.
Wow.
Forcing Jones to step out inside the 3. 49-yard punt into the corner for Rob Maber.
Going to let it hit the ground.
Joining us late, Trevor Harris's evening ended early, non-contact injury. First signs of it on that handoff.
Yeah, no report from the medical staff from Edmonton, but it's forearm grip related, something to do with his hand. He tried it at halftime, came out a couple throws, 3 or 4, and just didn't like how it felt. That's it. That's been it.
After that handoff, he did throw a touchdown pass to Tavon Smith. They continue to work on it. He has warmed up periodically in the second half on the sidelines.
It's like those forearm tendon or something that are affecting his grip on the football, and he just can't have the control he needs. And I'm sure the concern of injuring it further would be there too. So
Logan Kilgore's game.
So you're 2 possessions down on your own 3.
On field, they start with Gable. And Gable able to surge ahead for around 6.
He's 6 on the play. He's 2nd and 4 now for the Eskimos.
So a streak of 24 consecutive games with at least 20 completions comes to an end. He'll share the record with another Edmonton great, although Ricky Ray did post that record with the Toronto Argonauts.
Logan Kilgore got a familiar number.
Yeah, and was a teammate of Ricky Ray's in Toronto. On target there for a first down, got Ricky Collins. And Edmonton gets some breathing room at the 20.
That's a you got to believe throw. That's basically sending a message to his guys up front, his O-linemen, his receivers, C.J. Gable, saying, we can get it done. We can get it done. I know I haven't had a lot of reps, but how about this one to the sideline, get the sticks moving, get that first down.
He hadn't underthrown Tavares Daniels on that one. That might be a different story. Gable, stutter step at the line. And Eagles run hard in this game. Productive run on first down for C.J. Gable.
Really need to lean on him now. I mean, that to get Kilgore into 2nd and 3rd and 4 is huge.
Oh, the gloves make a difference. He doesn't look like he's ready to declare his day over.
Yeah, no, he keeps trying.
Like about 3.5, maybe even just 3. Second down. Gable for Darryl Law. Helping stuff in it. Mechie moved up along with Wynn McManus. And the Eskimos will have to punt it away.
And I think Cordero Law got things started here too, Chris, because he lines up real wide at defensive end, but he crashes in and just takes this play and just eliminates the hole. You can see the matchup, Cordero Law against Natea J. I mean, I'm sorry. With all due respect to a good young receiver, I'm taking Cordero Law on that.
3 tackles and a sack for the 6-year vet. White punting. And on a hop, Williams will step over midfield and into the Calgary sidelines.
Williams on the return for the Stampeders.
Eric Rogers, since the second quarter, has been the go-to guy for Bo Levi Mitchell. And coming into this game, Rogers was second to Bagleton. He was contributing with the second down, those money catches to move the chains. He had 15 of them. That was second just to Bagleton's 19 coming in. He's got 5 catches tonight for 76 yards in that touchdown you just saw. So what does Edmonton have as an answer for number 4? Correctly, he was pretty good in that November game here too.
Money, go! Screen!
Mitchell rolls, and a completion. Hunchak's got another catch. 4th of the game for Colton Hunchak in his first Canadian Football League start.
One of those guys that he had one catch on the season, but it was for 57 yards when he came into this game. Now he's got 4. He's had a nice game. I mean, I think they can build on that. It's like he's running his routes nice and clean and crisp.
Juwan Brescison was such an important part of this offense. He's injured. Richie Sindani took over at that spot. He got hurt last week, and now it's Hunchak. And Kadeem Carey gets nailed. There's Larry Dean again. And number 11, if credited with that tackle, would have 11 through 3 quarters of play. So we're through 3 quarters of action. 23-10 Stampeders heading to the 4th quarter.
This program may contain coarse language that could offend some viewers. Discretion is advised.
7 quarters in this back-to-back matchup, and Calgary's defense has held Edmonton to 19 points.
Well, you got to believe with the backup quarterback and Logan Kilgore out there, Trevor Harris is still working on the sideline trying to get things worked out with that passing arm in hand. And Calgary Stampeders, Bo Levi Mitchell looking good. He's got Eric Rogers going. The Edmonton Eskimos are up against it. You know, they're down 2 possessions. They still got to try and find a way to fight, and it maybe starts on the defensive side.
As impressive as Logan Kilgore was when he immediately came in, only 32 yards in that 3rd quarter for the Eskimos on offense.
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, you know, the Calgary defense going to figure it out. I mean, they haven't seen any tape on him or any video on him, so once they see his throwing motion, see what he wants to do, see what he likes to do, then they can make adjustments accordingly like they did in the 3rd quarter.
Second down, Mitchell taking a shot and overthrows Bagleton by a stride.
There was a collision there in the secondary. It looked like Josh Johnson is in coverage, opens up and runs into his own man. Taekwon Glass left Bagleton wide open, and Bo just missed him.
On 3rd down, the field goal unit is on. It's like a 43-yard attempt. Full 2-score lead with a couple of 2-point converts as well. It's 26-10 for the Stampeders, the opening minute of the 4th quarter.
That's right.
Eskimos trying to stay in it, trying to stay onside. With more on that, here's Ryan Rashog.
Yeah, Chris, I have to say things got pretty tense here on the Eskimo sidelines, and it stems from an incident on field between teammates Vontae Diggs and Josh Johnson. Watch closely. Diggs throws a shoulder up into the head of Johnson. Johnson reacts by going back at him and shoving him. This continued back on the Eskimo sidelines. They were jawing at one another. A number of teammates got between them, and it went on for a couple of minutes anyways before teammates were able to settle things down a little bit. But obviously the tension is building on the Eskimo sidelines, and never a good sign, guys, when you got teammates going at it. That was late in the third quarter before a play.
Edmonton number 67, 10-yard penalty.
Great sideline work from Ryan there. That's outstanding, and that's not good news for Edmonton and Edmonton fans. He start fighting, infighting, and arguing with each other, pushing matches. Clearly, they've cleared it up since then between those two particular players, but you can't be battling yourself and try and beat the opponent as well when you're down 2 scores in your own backyard.
Holding call against Colin Kelly.
It's where the captains and the leaders got to step up and step in there and say, hey, we're in this together, we're going to lose.
Timbers trade, completion to Daniels. Gets the penalty yardage, maybe a yard or 2 more. 12-yard pickup for Davaris Daniels. But in danger of losing their 3rd straight and falling to 4th in the division. Gilder pulls him down, and now double pump intercepted with McManus with a great catch. And Calgary's first interception of the day.
Take another look. I'm sure that Jason Moss will want to take a look too. You're going to see it from the left side of your screen. He's going to open up and just make a great attempt to the football, but does he use the ground to help him recover? It looks like it.
Jason Moss wants to challenge, doesn't have to. It's a turnover, so, or potential turnover that will be reviewed.
It's a turnover, so it's automatically reviewed, so they don't have to, Jason Moss doesn't have to use his challenge flag there. But he almost said, I want you to look at it, so I'll even challenge that it was PI down the field. I think they've just talked him out of that as well. So they'll review this and see if McManus caught it.
After automatic review after turnover, it is an incomplete pass. It's 3rd down.
That's the correct call. Could see it slip through his hands and touch the turf.
So the punt team comes on. September has been a month of frustration for Jason Moss in Edmonton. His record 3-11 this month. It's been a different story for the Stampeders.
Well, and 2-7 against Calgary coming in. They lose this one. It's 2-8 against the rival. That's tough.
Gary Williams from the 31-yard line and brought down immediately. That's good downfield cover by Brian Walker.
Freshman Year, the debut full-length album from the Reclaws featuring the brand new single, Old Country Soul. Listen now on Apple Music.
Bet that's better than my freshman year.
Can you remember back to that day?
I tried to forget. Bo Baldwin tell Vernon Adams, don't look in the rearview mirror.
Don't look in the rearview mirror. That object appears closer than it actually is. It's called Father Time.
34-yard line, the start for Mitchell, navigates the pocket, unloads deep, and it short hops in front of Michael Klukas. Mentioned the record of September for Jason Moss. It's a different story for the Stampeders. They make hay in September, 13-1 since Dave Dickinson took over. And the record just as good before that when John Hufnagel was at the controls.
Incredible. I mean, win this one, it's 48-15 and 2 overall for Dickinson as the head coach. And Stampeders move into second place with a win.
28th and 5 in September for Calgary since 2012. 2nd and 10. Over the middle, and it is intercepted. Buddy Hunter's come up with it. Play's been blown dead. Is that ruled an interception? They're marking it back at the 47-yard line.
Need some big plays to get this team back together again. We saw what Ryan reported on, a little bit of infighting going on the sideline and on the field. And
all potential turnovers reviewed. Let's have another look.
Start making big plays like this, and you come together quickly. Let's see if Money Hunter makes the catch here. Looked like it touched the ground.
He did make the catch.
I think he did. He
Spectacular.
kept it with that left hand. He kept that off the turf.
Down by contact as he rolled off the intended target, Bingleton. Second interception of the season for Hunter. It's the third for the Eskimos' secondary of this game.
Took it from him, huh?
So the green and gold had some life.
Right now time, though.
Taken over in Calgary territory. Looking to set up the middle screen, but nothing available.
So we were in the break, and General Manager Brock Sunderland went down to the sideline. Again, Ryan reported to us quickly in that commercial break that the GM was walking straight through the players' bench. Now, we've at times seen GMs on the sideline, and sometimes they'll be down in the corners and watching from field level, but I don't remember a time I've seen a GM walk right in front of the bench all the way from one end to the other to make his presence known. Maybe to clean up some of that stuff that was going on.
2nd and 10. Rushes on. Kilmer's down. But the ball came loose, and look at Matt O'Donnell.
Oh, big.
Chug back.
Whoa.
Calgary thought they had Kilmer down.
The ground was shaking. Small tremors with every step.
Yes. An earthquake might be reported here. 6'11", 350.
There's Sopek. He's a guy who's coming on the blitz, and he breaks through there, gets home, but the ball bounces off the turf right to the big man.
And it was a live football.
Boom, boom, boom. Like they're just... Man,
third down, and the offense stays out. Needs 6. The hitter, and it's intercepted. It's Deshaun Amos going back the other way. And he's going to outrun them down the sidelines. Pick 6 for Calgary. Fourth interception of the season for Deshaun Amos in his first Canadian Football League touchdown.
Boy, it looked like Logan Kilgore had an open receiver right at the first down marker. Take another look from the end zone look. Kilgore gets his eyes over there immediately. That ball sailed on him, went up over top the receiver off his fingertips. Amos makes a nice catch, and then look at the speed down the sideline.
Had a goal line knocked down to clinch things last week, and
just a high throw.
That be the final nail here in the rematch. Paredes adds the extra point.
And Paredes is good on the comment.
So a big Calgary lead. Let's head to Rod Smith on the panel.
Thank you, CC. An update, Coors Light answering the call. Well, Calgary's running game not nearly as good as it was last Monday, but it doesn't matter. They've been throwing the football, and Edmonton's D-line has not been getting pressure on Bo Levi Mitchell. As for Trevor Harris, the injury prevented him from doing anything more than a touchdown pass early in the game. We'll be back with more.
So it's 33-10 after the 79-yard interception return for a touchdown by Deshaun Amos. On the kickoff, Christian Jones. And brought down. Good cover there. Again by one of the youngsters, DeGogo Maxwell.
Let's go back and quarterbacks are judged on a few categories. Decision making, pretty good here from Kilgore. Go ahead and run it. Toughness, we've seen a little of that, and accuracy, and that's where the issue is here. Inside cut, you got to put it right in the belly, not up high, or else the receiver gets in trouble. He's moving inside towards the football, and now he's got to make a spectacular catch up over his hands. No way Greg Ellenson can get there. You got to throw it right in there, low and away, so the receiver can protect himself. So he had the decision, had the toughness, didn't have the accuracy.
Clear this one out, jump ball, and incomplete. Intended for Ellingson. Raheem Wilson was down there defensively, and another Stampeder defender who remains down.
I think I heard someone down there on the sideline say wind. It got his wind knocked out of him. I think that might be Jamar Wall. Boy, that's nice coverage by Raheem Wilson. Just step for step. And you just, it's like he's wearing. Great inside position by Wilson, just almost impossible to complete that.
8-year man Wall is up, one of the defensive leaders.
Yeah, the
Stampeder defense, I don't know if we give them enough credit, do we?
We don't. The early reports of the demise of this defense have been greatly exaggerated because I'll tell you what, they are coming together nicely. Their secondary has been outstanding all season. Brent Monson's got a great group back there. You saw the play by Raheem Wilson. Trey Roberson with 6 interceptions. That's second to Winston Rose in the Canadian Football League. I mentioned Corey Greenwood as a guy that, to me, he's a front runner for outstanding Canadian. Can be in the conversation with guys like Willie Jefferson for outstanding defensive player as well. Pretty good group.
By the way, Jamar Wall with 9 tackles in the game. Kilgore throws it in the flat for Gable. And Gable not going anywhere. Brandon Smith, the veteran, with another tackle.
We had a nice one on Monday. Just textbook tackle in the open field on a key second down.
3rd and 1 now.
Get him over 600.
Excuse me. In fact, that's his 4th tackle of the game. 6'10" in his career. He just passed Kelly Wiltshire into 16th all time in the tackle department in his distinguished 12-year career.
When we talk about penalties and discipline, I think if you went through the list, you'd see that it would be sort of the same handful of guys probably over and over. How many times do we ever talk about a bad decision or penalty from a guy like Brandon Smith? You just never, guys like that, you just never, they make good decisions. And that's why they have careers that last 12 years. That's why they can get to 600 plus tackles. They make great decisions on the field all the time. They don't take bad penalties that become selfish decisions.
First down, Kilgore swings it out. Gable has another first down, gets pushed out by McManus. Time and enemy of the Eskimos, though, right now, midway through this 4th quarter. Gable's done his part, 112 yards from scrimmage in the game.
Yep, but big story moving forward. How serious is Trevor Harris? And how's this Edmonton Eskimo team that will drop the 3 in a row, 3 losses in a row, climb out of this hole?
Gable inside, gets stacked up. Well, we could talk about missing Harris, but if you look over the body of the first 12 games for Edmonton, it looks like a better team on paper than a 6-6 record that they are in danger of falling to. Number 1 in yards in offense, number 1 in yards allowed on defense.
And they're going to drop to 500. It
doesn't add up, does it?
It doesn't, and they've been swept by their rival.
Look to Collins. Taken out by Roberson.
Now the good news, I think if you're an Edmonton fan is that Kilgore hasn't got it done necessarily tonight. It's still some time left, but down 3 possessions. It's a steep hill. It's covered in snow, and you're going up both ways uphill. But he's shown some things. He hasn't played for 2 years, basically.
And 163 yards passing over the middle. And Ellingson goes up and brings it down. Took a shot from Nate Hawley. But the Eskimos moving on this drive with just over 6 minutes left.
Yeah, you know, when he locks into Ellingson, it's not going to work every time. But see Ellingson just get that inside leverage with a little bit of a stem. That means he's just widening as he comes off the line of scrimmage to push Deshaun Amos just outside shoulder, and then he takes a hit and hangs on.
6 catches, 83 yards for Ellingson. He's over 800 yards receiving on the season. 28-yard connection. Play action fake. Underneath it goes to Morris Daniels. Dragged down at the 1. Jamar Wool back in, and he saves a touchdown. The former Stampeders got the 1st and goal at the 1.
Block is the enemy, so you got to hustle up to the line of scrimmage here. So one receiver outside, that inside slant cut. There's a little damage after the fact. Running the ball, got to go right away.
1st and goal. Plunging ahead. No signal. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 1.
On the 1. Stay out there.
Always love those shots is when they unpile from the Mayhem.
Here you go. What do you want to do? You want to get down in there?
Behind the white. Behind the
Oh,
white.
thank you.
Behind the
Boy,
white.
he was close, wasn't he?
Stay down next time.
Hellman went over the line, but not the football. Try again. And this time, looks like Logan Kilgore is in. Still no signal.
I got a touchdown. Yeah.
It is a touchdown.
It's still a steep hill, but there's time.
They'll go for 2. Our sharp producer John Hines is correcting me. They'll get the 1 here.
Yeah, did the math, because if you miss the
and
2, you're
get
still
within 16.
That's right.
They'll have to go for 2 on any subsequent touchdowns.
Might get it to 2 possessions. I don't think they need the onside kick now. They'll take the single here. Kick it deep, try and get a quick 2 and out and get the ball back before the warning.
Just got it away. Do have a flag on the play. And it's going against Calgary. So 33-17. And the decision desk pulls away.
Yeah,
It's gonna,
we hadn't made the decision yet. We were just speculating
it was
if this score continues, if this trend continues, Calgary.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 16. That penalty would be applied on the kickoff, and the convert is good.
Delmecchi called for unnecessary roughness. That should mean that Edmonton can back Calgary up on the kickoff. And the contact on Kilgore flagged against Mechie. Well, the Stampeders can grind it out. Dean Carey, they're weak on him. Brought down in the backfield.
Been better against the run.
Timeout, Edmonton.
The Edmonton defense, they fixed that. They scored on one of their early possessions. They scored a major, so they in some ways fixed the red zone issue by scoring a touchdown. First and 10 visits inside the 20.
Loss of 2 there, so they're only 25 yards rushing in the game.
Just drop to the sticks.
295.
So you have emphasis in practice, and I'm sure they emphasize the run defense. They play better in that area. They emphasize red zone. They got one tonight, but can't figure out their rival.
Second and 12. Look out. Pitch to Rogers, trying to get the edge, and he's contained there. Tyquan Glass, the tackle.
You see, he stays in bounds. Yep. That's what he wants to do, is got out to the sideline, and then he said, well, I don't want to get out of bounds. Stop it.
Third down now, Calgary.
Something tells me that they'll use the clock here once they whistle it in and it starts. There we go. And make sure they get down to 3 or 4 seconds before they snap it. Remember when they snapped it at 8 and Dave Dickinson wasn't very happy with that call?
Snap on 1.
There you go.
Good boot by Maver. Jones from his 20. And up across the 30-yard line with
decision desk.
41 remaining.
Should we ask the decision desk? Is it time?
Not. I remember you were in Calgary a couple of weeks ago. It was 11 points in the final minute. There's a lot more to be done for Jason Moss, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
That was Vernon Adams at Montreal. Double overtime.
It was.
They needed 8 plays. It's about the same scenario, maybe a little less time for backup quarterback Logan Kilger.
Ron Amos, another short tackle on C.J. Gable.
Now? Are you giving it to him now?
One throw away from the end zone, isn't he?
Close.
You know, if this is no disrespect, but if the other 15 in Edmonton history was out there, maybe I would hold off. But my decision desk is done.
Yep. Pass into the feet of Ricky Collins.
Calgary will improve to 7-4 on the season. And it'll be 500 Edmonton Eskimo team that goes and takes on Hamilton next. Or excuse me.
Oh, they've got Hamilton too. Both Alberta teams.
Yeah, they do. That's
Edmonton's got to bye before they get the Ticats.
Double check, make sure they had Hamilton next week.
Calgary, Hamilton next week. That'll be a blockbuster. Pass over the middle is going to be short of the first down. They're going to turn it over on downs here. Daniel stopped in the decision desk and
now you
can put that check mark in the win column for the Calgary Stampeders.
Ranger!
That's respect for our Canadian game, isn't it? That you waited till 1:15, 2 possessions to say that was it. Well,
we've seen it a few times, haven't we?
Well, and it's important because I think our cohort in the studio, Henry Burris, is going to go grab a nice bottle of Pinot after a long day of work on the desk and a triple header football day where the panel's been outstanding all the way along the way, and he's going to just drink one for Bo that just passed him.
I'm sure he knew it was coming eventually.
Great
run for Hig. Not sure Bo's going to catch him in all-time yards, but that is a discussion for another day.
I'm not sure if it'll be Pino. I mean, I know that
Money.
thinking Henry would maybe more of a Merlot. It's like his win record just passed by Bo.
Hey, he's gonna shoot. He's gonna shoot. He's gonna shoot. There it is.
Carey again. He took a heavy jolt around the 35.
Yeah, hey, come on, Jay.
Josh Johnson
right?
on the stop. And Johnson holding his wrist as he heads off. Man, that would be a costly last-minute injury for the Eskimos.
The big question for them is the health of Trevor Harris. And boy, he did everything he could to try and get himself back out there, but...
Hey, Poach. Dorsett. Poach.
So third down, they're letting the clock run down. Big to Carey. Hunchak, is he going to get the first down?
And that's it.
What a great memory of a first CFL start it's going to be for Colton Hunchak.
And by number 43, Vontae Diggs, and first down.
Fifth catch for Hunchak in the game.
That's great first step.
And 53 yards.
Black.
Canadian receiver spot open, and he seized it today, didn't he?
Yeah, great job and very good game for him. And knows that now Bo can trust him.
From being in the stands cheering the red and white to making a difference on the field. The last player drafted in 2019 had a good Labor Day rematch, and Dave Dickinson's team sweeps the Edmonton Eskimos 3 straight, including back-to-back Labor Day and the Labor Day rematch. 33-17, the Stampeders prevail. They're now 7-4, and the Eskimos drop to 500. Time now for the Nissan Titan Player of the Game, brought to you by the Nissan Titan, ranked #1 in quality by J.D. Power.
A couple honorable mentions. Honorable mention to Reggie Begelton. Honorable mention to Bo. A couple picks, but Eric Rogers took over when it was a game. It was a one-possession game coming to the half. Rogers took over that big drive. He had 3 key catches, including the touchdown. He finishes with 6 catches on 8 targets for 78 yards and a touchdown. And I think he just took control of the game and really settled things down. Bo got that 2-possession lead and didn't look back.
So the Stampeders now moving into second place in the CFL West. And questions will linger about the status of Trevor Harris, who left the game early with an arm injury. So that wraps up Super Saturday. Toronto, Winnipeg, and Calgary, all the winners. We'll see you coming up in Week 14. So long from Commonwealth.